And then one last thing I do want to highlight, because I really think that this is a game changer for EV ownership, is our trip planner. A lot of times we receive the questions like, well, can I do the road trip that I go on? How will I find charging stations? Is it difficult to find them, and so forth? So what's really cool about Chargeway is that we actually have a trip planner that takes a lot of those questions and puts it into an algorithm that works behind the scenes. And all you simply have to do is put in the exterior temperature, your estimated speed in terms of how fast you'll be going on your trip, your estimated departure state of charge, because that will impact how the trip is planned, your starting point and destination. And then if you have any midpoints, you can also add that, but we'll keep it simple for this demo. So say, for example, with Alex and I both in Ohio, we probably really wish it was 75 degrees. So we'll jump up to 75.
Right.
It's freezing. I think it's like 10 degrees here right now. I don't know how cold it is down
Seriously?
there.
It was so nice yesterday, and then it dropped down for us as well, because it's freezing right now.
Yeah,
it's 26 here.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't like this. So we'll pretend it's 75.
Perfect.
And then, since we're going to be realistic, we are... Sorry, we're not going to
down
go
to 100 miles per hour.
I'm really doing my best to scroll here. This is much easier on a mobile device, but I'm using my trackpad. So let me scroll up to... We'll go about 73.
The screen froze again, too. Yeah, we're there now. Yeah, you set it at 73 miles per hour, it looks like. Perfect.
Yep. Okay. Kind of right in that middle point. That's kind of what I like to drive at.
Yep.
And, just depending on what your departure state of charge is, we'll just leave at 100%, since that's what I always recommend in terms of if you're going on a longer trip. Do your best to charge at home or wherever you can to at least 100% before you leave on a trip. I just think it's kind of the best starting point. Obviously, if you can only charge to 80%, do what you can. But we'll just start at 100. So
one thing I'll call out before you jump down to the route is as you change that temperature and speed, the total range has also changed. Yes.
Sorry, that's actually a detail that I skipped on. I might have to circle back on my training. So Alex did point out if depending on what your departure exterior temperature is and the estimated speed, that obviously impacts the efficiency of your vehicle. It's very similar to a gasoline vehicle. The faster you drive, the less efficient the vehicle is going to be. Very similar in an EV, exterior temperature can impact that. So that's really where we wanted to highlight that those two factors can impact your driving range. So, for example, if we turn off the set temperature and speed, that number is going to jump back up to the EPA range of 358. And then when you turn that back on, it's going to drop down to an estimated 284 miles based on those settings you put in there.
Gotcha. I think that's a great illustration. Yeah, I think that's a great illustration to show people exactly how much your range is affected, because it's a big question mark from people. It's if I'm driving 70 miles per hour and I start with 100 here, how far can I actually get driving at highway speeds? Versus, maybe just short trips around town, I'm kind of staying around 45 most of the time, your range is going to be a lot better. Or temperature, too. It's those are really the two main things that impact range, and I think it's good seeing that visual of how much exactly it's actually affected versus just kind of saying, oh, well, it could drop up to 30%. It's that's a problem if it's 30%, but what's realistic?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that number is based on specific data charts that we've done research on. So we've noticed that as it gets colder, you will see a massive drop off, but then as it gets to I don't know, maybe 10 degrees and under, it actually it tends to flatten out in terms of how your range will be.
It's not an exponential decrease where it's linear decrease where it's completely getting less and less the colder it gets. Gotcha.
Yep.
Interesting.
Kind of even out. And the same thing with hotter temperatures as well. Obviously the hotter it gets, the less efficient your vehicle is going to be. But what we've seen in our research, it actually tends to flat out, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Little cool tidbit. But, jumping back into the route, is there any place you want to start at? We could start in Cleveland.
Yeah, let's start in Cleveland, and then just go to, I don't know, you want to go just Cincinnati across Ohio?
Yeah. Cincy. I always forget how to spell Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that Gwen Stefani song, but I think that's Bananas and not Cincinnati. But
She needs to come out with a remix, clearly.
Right. Well, the good thing is...
C-I-N. That? Is that what you need?
Yeah, it's close, yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to have to start remembering that every time I say Cincinnati. But if you don't remember how to spell like a certain city, as you can see, there were suggestions that will pop up. So like, if you know like a zip code or maybe like even like a like just like the state that you're going to travel to, it will show up as like a suggested. So like, since I really didn't remember how to spell the rest of Cincinnati, it auto-filled that out. Yes. Yep. So all you have to do now is just hit set route, and then you'll hit start. And now what this is doing is that it's creating a route that's going to be the most efficient for your driving. With this being Android based, it is using Google Maps. If you're using an Apple device, it will be using the native iOS or Apple Maps. But what's cool about this is that if there are alternative routes, you can select them, and then this will kind of it'll change your trip based on the route you're taking. So we'll just take the more straight route going from Cleveland, Columbus to Cincinnati. We'll hit use selected route. And now what this is doing is that it's filtering through our charging station database to find the most efficient route in terms of your speed, exterior temperature, as well as charging stations along the route. So it's providing a list starting at Cleveland. You know, we're leaving at 100%. We're going to drive about 150 miles, and then we'll get to Grove City, which is the Derby Square Shopping Center Tesla Supercharger. This is a Red 6, so it's not quite as fast as V3 or Red 7 Tesla speeds or charging speeds. But you'll arrive at an estimated 47%, and you'll need to charge it at least to 50% to get to Cincinnati. So that's only about 10 minutes worth of charge. So which is not bad. I mean, it's adding 3%. You might stop longer and so forth, but it's an estimate. And then you'll drive another 100 miles, and you'll arrive in Cincinnati at least with 15% state of charge left on your vehicle. Looking to a quick difference screen over here in this little gray bar, and this is going to be different depending on which mobile device you're using or like, you know, which platform or Chargeway you're looking at. But this, in terms of like the location on the screen, but the information is going to remain the same. This is saying that the total trip time, including charging, is about 4 hours and 8 minutes. Total trip distance is 250 miles, and you'll charge for at least 10 minutes on this trip.